Hi everyone, we're going to do some English now. Just two quick things before we start. Thank you so much to those of you that have sent me your work that you've been doing. It's been lovely to see what you've been getting up to. I've loved looking at all of your vocabulary that you've been using in your plans, and I'm really excited to see the work that you do when we do our big write using those plans. But it's been lovely to just see what you've been getting up to and to know that you're all right at home, because obviously it is a bit weird teaching a computer at the moment. So thank you so much. Please do keep sending them, because I'm loving looking at what you're all up to. And secondly, it is Christmas jumper day at school today. So I'm wearing my Christmassy jumper that I got knitted for me for my birthday from someone special. So if you've got a Christmas jumper that you'd like to put on at home, then please do. And if you want to send us a picture or let us know, that would be lovely. So it's sort of like we're still involved with school, and we're all doing it together, even though we have to be in our own homes at the moment. So yeah, okay, let's start English. So today in English we are going to start to write the beginning of our own version of Hansel and Gretel. But first I would like you please to have a go at this starter. So I would like you to write down the adjectives from this sentence. So have a go at reading the sentence and then choose the adjectives that you think are in there and write the adjectives into your book. You don't need to write the whole sentence, just the adjectives. Okay, pause the video, off you go. Okay, so hopefully you have read the sentence. The dark green forest was scary, and you have written down the words dark, green and scary that describe the forest. Good job if you got that. Okay. The next thing I would like you to do, please, is to have a look back through your book or your work, whatever you're using at the moment, to the plan that you created earlier in the week. And I specifically like you to look at the beginning, the plan that you made for the beginning of the story, because that is what we're going to be focusing on today. So just remind yourselves what sort of vocabulary you wrote down, which key events we need to include in the beginning. And yeah, pause the video, have a look back, and we'll carry on when you're ready. Okay, so look carefully at the words that you used for all of the main events in the story. So hopefully in your plans you have all made reference to something about the stepmother making the plan to leave Hansel and Gretel in the woods, and Hansel and Gretel overhearing this and Hansel having a plan. You might have written down that he took the pebbles and then they managed to get home, but then the next day he only had a loaf of bread with him, and unfortunately the birds all ate his crumbs, didn't they, that he had left so that he could get home. But then they saw the beautiful, colourful gingerbread house in the middle of the forest where the old lady lived. Well done if you got all of that. So today you are going to write the beginning of the story of Hansel and Gretel. So this means if we are doing our extended write, we always need to use full sentences, don't we? In our plans we can just use key vocabulary, key words, but when we're doing an extended write, I want to make sure that you're writing full sentences with capital letters and full stops, and in paragraphs, or in a paragraph for today, because we're just going to focus on the beginning, just like we do when we're at school. So key features that we need to include in our story. Adjectives, always adjectives, to describe not only the characters but also the setting, and to describe their feeling words. For example, Gretel felt terrified because they were lost in the forest. You all came up with loads of great feeling words on Monday when we were in school, and from the work that I've seen you've included lots of fantastic feeling words and describing descriptive vocabulary in your plans as well, so make sure you're using all of that in your big writes. Past tense and third person. We are not Hansel, we are not Gretel, so we are writing this as if we are talking about somebody else. So we are using he, she, they, them. Okay, it's not like when we wrote our diary entry where we were doing it in first person and using I and me. We're not doing that today. We're using they, them, she and he. A range of sentence openers and conjunctions. So you should have included some of these in your plan when we did them earlier in the week. We will talk a lot about this in school, about our sentence openers and our conjunctions, and we've definitely done a lot of work on them this term. So I would really love to see you using that knowledge in your extended rights. And time conjunctions to extend your sentences. So we've got time conjunctions and conjunctions. Sorry, that's my mistake. I misread that. So remember, we said conjunctions are like joining two things together, in like a junction in the road where it joined two roads meet. It's two sentences being put together. And time conjunctions are pinning it to a point in time. So it might be after that, or before that, or next, then, those kinds of words to pin it to an order or a time. And finally, similes. Again, I've seen lots of lovely similes in your plans, so please make sure you're using them in your writing. For example, this witch was as sly as a fox because she tricked Hansel and Gretel. So a simile is when you compare something like or as something else. So the witch was as sly as a fox. That's our simile in that sentence. So yeah, make sure we're using them in our extended rights. So I have written my beginning of my story, and I'm just going to share it with you. So you can either pause it now, pause the video now and have a read through this on your own or with your adult, or I'm going to read it to you if it's too small, or if you would just rather that I read it to you today. And then after we've gone through this, you can have a go at your right. So, there once lived a little boy called Hansel and a little girl called Gretel. They lived in a teeny tiny house next to the huge dark forest. The two small children lived with their kind father and their horrible stepmother. So immediately we've got lots of adjectives in there, haven't we? One day, so that's a sentence opener, Hansel and Gretel heard their mean stepmother tell their lovely father that she planned to take them into the forest and leave them there. Hansel was speechless. Gretel felt so worried she was shaking like a leaf. All of a sudden, so we've got shaking like a leaf is our simile, and all of a sudden is our sentence opener there. Hansel had a brilliant idea. He rushed outside and collected small shiny pebbles. The next day, as they walked slowly into the woods, Hansel dropped the pebbles to create a shiny trail for them to follow when they wanted to come home. Sadly, their stepmother was not pleased to see them when they arrived home later that night. However, their father was relieved and excited to see them. When they walked into the woods the next day, Hansel only had a small piece of bread to leave a trail with. Unfortunately, the birds had eaten the bread by the time they wanted to come home. Gretel felt terrified. In the dark, the branches were as spooky as ghosts. Then they saw a beautiful, colourful gingerbread house in between the pointy trees. It was covered in edible sweets and chocolate, ruby red candy canes, sweet strawberry laces, and gooey gumdrops. It smelt delicious, and Hansel and Gretel felt overjoyed. Okay, so that's my beginning. Today, your must, of course, is to use adjectives and feeling words to describe anything and everything in your story. You should write in past tense and in third person. So we've talked about that. That's they, them, he and she. And you could include a range of sentence openers and conjunctions. Again, we've talked about this. And you might reread to edit and improve your writing. So that's something that I didn't do. If you were looking carefully, you'd have seen some spelling mistakes. So make sure that when you are doing yours, you're rereading it. So you're making sure that you're spelling the best you can, and your handwriting's beautiful, and you're remembering your capital letters, your full stops, and your finger spaces. Okay, well done. This will be the end of the video, so you've got the rest of your time today to do your write your beginning. I can't wait to see what you get up to, and I will see you soon. Okay, goodbye.